Reverend Jeff Carr. I'm the Deputy Mayor for Gang Reduction and Youth Development for the City of Los Angeles. You're watching StreetGangs.com.
Mentioned former councilman Martin Ludlow as doing a program similar. Is that really what inspired this program that you got going on this summer?
Yeah, he did something called Summer of Success back in 2003 and 2004 at Jim Gillian Park in Baldwin Village. And they kept the parks open till after midnight every night for 8 weeks. And in the course of those 8 weeks, in the summer when they did that, they had no homicides at all. And they actually decreased gang-related violence by about 20% in that summer. So it seemed like it was a great idea. It worked in that one spot. My idea was, let's see if we can actually take that in other cities or other parts of the city and see if it works in other parks.
Did anyone take notice of the success, because it hasn't been replicated since he's done it back in, what, 2002?
Well, it was certainly been noticed if you look at the Advancement Project's report that they did, and actually at the Controller's report that she did about the city's gang prevention and intervention programs. Actually, both of those reports actually cited the Summer of Success as an example of something that actually has worked. So I think, you know, maybe it took the city a little while to you know, see that and try and see if we can replicate it, but that's part of what my job is, to try and do that.
Now, since you work for the city and the city's in a major budget deficit, probably the largest in the history of Los Angeles, where's the money coming to fund this program for the summer?
I actually went out and raised almost $1 million of private money from private foundations and individuals to actually subsidize this, so we could actually pilot this in these 8 parks.
What's the total cost for the 8 parks this summer?
It's just under $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell us what neighborhoods that this program is going to be implemented in?
Yeah, it's going to be in the Baldwin Village area in Jim Gillian Park. It's going to be in the Newton area at Ross Snyder Park, in the Mount Carmel Park around 70th and Hoover. It's going to be in Ramon Garcia, which is in Boyle Heights in East LA. It's going to be in Ramona Gardens Housing Project in East LA. And then it's also going to be in Humphreys Park, Hubert Humphrey Park out in the San Fernando.
Now, what was the strategy in picking these 8 parks? Because I'm sure you're going to get a lot of criticism in a city that's over 400 square miles with hundreds of parks. What was the criteria or the strategy used to pick these? Well,
the first was each of those parks are in our gang reduction youth development zones, which we've identified in the city. So that was one set of criteria. And then we met with, I met with the general manager from Rec and Parks to talk about where we thought we had facilities that would be best ideally suited for, you know, late night programming. So we wanted to have a gym and some facilities where, you know, instead of a passive park. And then the third thing was where we felt like we had, you know, really engaged Rec and Park employees and a community that really wanted something like this to happen.
It seems that there's a lot of sort of resentment when the government gets involved in funding prevention and intervention programs when it comes to gangs. Do you feel that that criticism is warranted, or that there should be a balance between, you know, the government and community assisting in these neighborhoods that have high levels of violence and crime?
Well, listen, the government can't do everything. In fact, unless you build the social capital in a neighborhood to really take, you know, control of that neighborhood and be a part of how we bring peace and reduce levels of violence in that community. It doesn't matter what the government can maybe control that for a short period of time, but you can't fix that unless you have partnership with the community. That being said, government does play a role. I mean, we provide the resources to help have the infrastructure in our city, whether that's through funding the police department to provide safety, but also we need to invest in other things like parks and recreation facilities and the kind of programming that goes with it. And I think that comprehensive approach is what you know, the mayor's office is trying to really move forward.
Well, I want to wish you much success on this program this summer. I have a good feeling that it's going to be successful, and hopefully we'll see this in 2009 being replicated next year. Is that a big possibility?
That's the goal, is to actually not just replicate it, but to expand it to other parks in the city. That's the goal.